Every projectile size is bigger. There's less big combos. It's a dumbed down version of a special game. How many times must I say it? How much longer do we have to wait before people admit it, man? The product offering isn't better. It's that simple.
Double-edged sort of like, if you don't talk about the cheater problem, then it's not being brought up, which means that
He's just
they might
talking
not
about
action
cheaters.
on it. Just looking to do other shit at this point. Hell, even the Overwatch TikTok React thing has gotten so dry, there's nothing left. Like, everyone's TikToks are either arguing about 5v5, 6v6, arguing about skin prices, or just like stupid clip. Like, not even fun clips. Like, it's just like play of the games. Wow, there ain't really much here anymore, huh? There's no fun ones. No fun ones.
Dude, this is so crazy to me to hear him saying this. Because it's like, this is quite literally what I went through when I was like, you know, coming off Contenders and I was with Mayhem, and I was like, I was way more adamant about being a big creator in the Overwatch scene, which is just not something that I don't view it like that anymore. Like, I don't want that kind of attention. I think the Overwatch scene's got a little cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs, if you will. No offense to anybody here. You know, it's not my cup of tea, I don't think. But I remember just feeling so exhausted and like trying to make content, like trying to make hacker hunts and trying to find ways to create stuff in the Overwatch scene. When I'm looking at Fortnite and like all the stuff they're doing and like how much easier it is to be I don't want to say easier because it's always hard. But man, it's just like, guys, it's just a small pond in an ocean. And it's just so weird seeing like the cycle continue, I guess.
Dude, you know, I was actually talking to Elon about this because I've been feeling a little bit self-conscious as a streamer recently, where sometimes where I stream Overwatch for a long period of time, for at least like a couple hours, I just stop saying anything because, like, dude, it gets so boring. Like, not just the game, but like I like run out of shit to talk about, and unless there's something chat has or brings up, dude, I'm literally just completely out. Yeah, it literally is like disassociation, and it's like we nicknamed it like the paint, like when paint starts drying.
Dude, that's because they've dumbed down the game, man. It's because they've dumbed down the game so much. There's no, like, again, I have a video coming out where I recorded it yesterday. I sent it to Coach Mills. Somehow, Overwatch 2 is actually less of a shooter game than Overwatch 1. And one point that I bring up is, like, there's not big special moments. Like, what are you playing for? Like, you could pick certain things in Overwatch 1 with a purpose, try to make a big combo work, to do something big. And those are huge, rewarding moments. They just aren't there anymore. They just are not there. Like, the amount of damage you're doing per limb in this game is so much higher. Like, you're getting less limbs per 1,000 damage in this game than you were in the previous game. And it's not just because there's one less player on each team. Marvel Rivals will just replace the game, and that's it. I really hope so. I really, really, really hope so. Like, at this point, guys, like, the best thing that could happen to Overwatch is for it to, like, seriously start dying out a little bit and, like, getting real competition. That's why, like, I felt that special feeling playing Marvel Rivals, and it wasn't just because the game is new. A part of it was because the game is new, but, like, the actual gameplay options I had were just so much more special, way more chaotic, way more to do. But all we've done is continue to put shackles on Overwatch creativity, and I just think it's gone a little too far with 5v5. I think there is a middle ground with like 6v6 roll queue, or if we can't have roll queue in 6v6, I'd rather have open queue. No cap. Because at least then encourage me to stack with my friends and we'll try to make something happen. But like, there's just like Overwatch 2 needs to remember what made Overwatch special. This is definitely like the dark ages of actual gameplay options, in my opinion.
I feel like my stream gets so boring after a couple hours of Overwatch because like I got nothing to talk about, the game's got nothing to talk about, there's nothing new, nothing stimulating, and so like I was like, do you feel the same way? And it turns out we kind of do sometimes, so it's not crazy because I like making good content. I like making stuff that people enjoy, so that's why I've kind of started doing like what's it called, like at the beginning, farming content, doing like the spectating, doing whatever, talking about stuff, TikTok reacts, whatever it might be, and then moving on after that because like we just run out of juice. Like all the juice is gone. Main Man wasn't meant to play a game for 6,000 hours. Really? So how did we do it for Overwatch 1 and all the years up until this exact point? Why is everybody feeling that at the exact same time? Is it because A, the people that have been doing it for 7 years all of a sudden all at the exact same time are all experiencing the same problem at the exact same time? Or B, is there something else at play because every single person is feeling the same problem at the exact same time?
I'm just gonna have to let them figure it out, man. I mean, it's just like, look, man, I'm sick of fucking screaming the void. I'm sick of getting labeled as some politician. I'm sick of this bullshit. This format fucking sucks. This format does not offer an interesting gameplay loop. It does not offer an interesting gameplay loop. It doesn't. It doesn't work. It's not better. That's what we're realizing 2 years later. This format has less of an offering, so therefore it's not going to last as long or be as much fun. It is that fucking simple, man. It's that fucking simple. It is the gameplay loop, dude. You take out the PM PEMDAS, but you also remove more than half the options on the map for killable targets with abilities that are all stronger and less ways to actually express your individual skill. The game is playing for you now more than ever. And that was the biggest problem in Overwatch 1, is that they added heroes that play for you. So instead of addressing those heroes, we changed the format and made every fucking hero in the game play for you. Every projectile size is bigger. There's less big combos. It's a dumbed down version of a special game. How many times must I say it? How much longer do we have to wait before people fucking admit it, man? The product offering isn't better. It's that simple. It's that simple, man. That's not even being a hater. It's just the truth. It pains me. And I'm not trying to put flats on blast at all, man. It's just like, how much longer do my friends have to fucking suffer in this shit before we can look it in the eye? This is like, listen, guys, I was willing to stick my neck out and get vilified in this scene so that my colleagues and myself and all my friends could sit there and have something they could invest so much fucking time into. Something that they love, right? Something we all can love. And I don't care. Like, I really don't. And it pains me so fucking much. And this is a little bit of a personal note. And I'm sorry for making this about me. It's not really... I feel a little shitty saying this. But it sucks to be, like, in that boat where you feel like you're vilified for it. And, listen, I've said some shit that has not done me any favors. Make no fucking mistake. I'm not trying to sit here and say that I'm an angel, dude. I'm not. I'm really not. But there was a purpose for it. And the purpose was to avoid this outcome. And we're here. So you just kind of have to wait and see, man. I hope it works out for all my friends. I really do. I'll find my own way.
I think coincidences are a sign of something at play, but I don't believe in coincidences like that. That is beyond a coincidence. There is no way on the planet every Overwatch streamer is feeling the same way at the exact same time. Do you see how many people are playing Variety? Like, my mods last night were making the joke that we started the Elden Ring train because now there's like 10 Overwatch streamers that are playing Elden Ring after this week. Why do you think that is? You know? Is it because I'm the genius trendsetter? Absolutely not. They probably saw that first day of me banging my head against a wall and everyone in chat was having a great time. There was tons of people just vibing out. And then, you know, the sense of accomplishment and there's something else to do and probably like, hell, that looks kind of fun. I'm down.
Because in this game, Elden Ring is a perfect example about this, right? With gaming being more competitive than ever, you should reward skill more than ever. Overwatch has done the opposite. And this is this like freaking SoCal feeling, thinking it pisses me off so much. And I know everyone always gets mad when I rant about Southern California, but Southern California is the origin, is the ground zero of this mentality, where it's like, let's make everyone special. Let's make it easier to hit shots. Let's add more auto heal mechanics in the game. You take away what was special, and that the player's decision making is what that makes them want to do this. So dumbing down Overwatch more and more and more is doing the opposite of what you want to create a game that's engaging over time.
I think it's much more of that. So yeah, I don't think anybody wants to hate Overwatch, or nobody wants to be in this fight.
I do like the Lakers though.
Bitching about it anymore. I'm honestly personally sick of it. I'm actually so sick of it. I don't even want to talk about stuff anymore. I don't even want to talk about Overwatch's problems. I genuinely don't anymore. I am legitimately hit the point where I don't even want to complain about some of the things that are going on at this point because I'm so bored of it. But like, there's almost nobody else left. Everyone else quit or is gone. they're all gone. There's like no one left to talk about it anymore. And it's like it's hit the point of apathy where people that are here just don't care anymore. They're like, yep, can't do anything. Not gonna get fixed anyways. What's the point? You know? And it's, man, that blows.
There's just an intensity that 66 has.
I'm personally someone who doesn't believe in that kind of a coincidence.
They all know it's true. They just don't want to get involved. Which is
Luca thinks of Overwatch right now.
It's like, listen, what do I mean by like they all know it's true? They all know there's something wrong. They all know the game now feels more boring and dumbed down than ever before. Really, ever. With less playmaking opportunities, all this. They all know. I don't know if they've put their finger on why. Because you have to really get into the numbers and the gameplay options to do that. Which is something that I've done. You had 2 tanks on the map that were both killable in Overwatch 1. As a DPS player, that was more fun. Every ability was weaker. Power creep has gotten insane in this game. Guys, think about this for a second. Abilities are stronger now than they have ever been. Even in GOATS meta, every atrocious meta that you can name, as a net, across the board, abilities are stronger now at a passive value than they have ever been in the state of Overwatch. If the abilities are stronger, there's less ways to actually organically express your skill. Look what the Goodyear said about. I'd rather you not complain than make it your whole personality like Samito does. That's actually funny. No, this is the Gooser. Well, my personality is talking about games and what's good and what's bad. And when they've downgraded everything in this game and everybody's feeling it, I'm a truth teller. That's what I say how it is. And some people, like this guy, just want to watch people sit there and play the video game, which is fine. That's honestly fine. Except if you sit there and you do that, you end up ruining your product. So that's fine. I hear you, man. That's funny. But that's just the reality of it. Like this gameplay, like there is way less skill expression in 5v5 than there was in 6v6. Way less. Way less skill expression. And I know the 5v5 defenders will sit there and be like, that's not true. I can take the duels faster. Less is not more, though. The duels are harder. They're harder to overcome. The hitboxes have all been made bigger. Health pools have had to be raised. And my options are still limited. How does less options equate to more skill expression? If someone can sit down and explain to me how less options equates to more skill expressions, and you can make that sale, oh my God, dude. You could go be a salesman. You could go sell shit at a grocery store. Like literal human feces at a grocery store if you can make that argument to me. You'd be one hell of a salesman. It'd be incredible.
I really don't think we're all crazy. No, it's not. Listen, granted, I appreciate the nice thoughts, like having a community to move to a different game.
For me personally, I am here to see the
I'm genuinely starting to believe it more.
Not so much the game. I am glued to the screen when you are yapping and usually dab out when comp comes around, although I have been here more often for the Elden Ring, so maybe I am also bored of WoW. I am unsure because I don't play Elden Ring myself. It's generally just because you yourself are entertaining. I'd love to see some more variety.
And I hope you understand what I'm trying to tell you here when I say this, right? I'm starting to believe you guys more because I have really bad imposter syndrome, right? So like, remember the whole Boger me talk, right? After that, I was like, I think about it, and I read a lot of the comments on that video. People were like, holy shit, like you definitely should. And then playing Elden Ring and how excited people were. Hell, even playing Undertale, that game's like, what, 9 years old? Like people loved it. People thought it was great. I'm starting to believe you guys, but what I'm saying is not about that. What I'm saying is like, I don't want to give up over Overwatch. I think it's still savable. I think that this game has a good future, but like, 100%. Man, they just keep getting kicked in the dick over and over. And like, why do you keep kicking me in the dick? Like it's kind of pissing me off.
I want the game to be good too, though. Constant competitive back 6v6 isn't going to help. They already talked about how 5v5 is saying, so it's not going to change anything. Oh, so this guy's just a moron. This guy, listen. Hey, here we go. Listen, the Gooser, I hope you see this, man. You know, the Earth is flat, dude. It's not round. I told you that. So therefore, it's never going to happen. The world's never going to be round because I told you that. It's not like I could snap my fingers and pull up a documentary or something showing you that the Earth is, not in fact not flat. But see this mentality. These people like they're just sheep. No offense. I mean this in the nicest way, but if you believe that, you're just a sheep, bro. You got to think outside the box, my friend. Just because they tell you, just because they say something does not mean, one, it's accurate, or two, it can't be done. If they wanted to bring back 6v6, they could do it in 1 minute. 1 minute, they could do it. Overwatch 2 dev team is a lost cause, though. Oh, yeah, well, shit.
We got you. We're gonna do this. Hell, just revert. Honestly, at this point, revert to season 8. Tone down healing about 5%.
Yes.
Get rid of the passives. Get rid of all the bullshit passives. Right? You can keep the tank boot passive if you want. And honestly, the healing passive has actually been pretty decent. You can keep that as well. But like, maybe 50% is a little bit too much. Maybe you can put it back to like 30, 35, ish. 50 is a little bit strong, but I understand why it's at 50. Ryan should be 50. Everyone else should be less. The only reason I say Ryan before someone goes, oh, you're just biased. Dude, I don't even play Ryan that much anymore.
He's got no range. He's got no range. What
the hell does it even look like? All modes. Ryan's still barely ahead. I guess let's do competitive. All seasons. 57 versus 56. Like my entire playtime of this game. It's never been that close in my life. Actually, hold on. All modes, time played. This is my time played over time. So like, look at what the hell the difference is. Look at the biggest differences in these heroes over the years versus Overwatch 2 competitive. It's actually much closer. Sigma's there, Zarya's there, Winston's there. But I don't even play it that much anymore, right? Oh, I'm in the way. Sorry, my bad. So this is competitive through all of Overwatch 2 versus all modes, time played. I really don't even play it that much. The only reason I say that is because like Ryan can't do anything unless you're up close, right? So I think Ryan should go to 50%. But the point is, everything else though, like just make it wrong. Just go. Like, we're sorry. Like, we tried something new. We swung the bat. And I appreciate when you do that because doing that kind of shit is great. You know what I mean? Do that. Try new shit, but it doesn't work. Get the go back, dude. That's the only reason why I even think the 6v6ers even have a valid argument at this point. It's because they ignore them. They don't say a goddamn word and they pretend they don't exist. And it's like, dude, we all see the elephants in the room. Why are we pretending like the elephant in the tutu is not standing there?
And again, I just want to build on what he said here. That exact thing is why I have been so pissed off about this. That's why it has enraged me. It's how people responded to it. Because if you go watch my first video, I was kind of like, the point of this is not like to start a civil war. I'd like the discussion to come back, but I think 6v6 was better for these reasons. And then it was just nonsense being spewed constantly. From even Blizzard, like the executive producer on Twitter literally said, and I saw this tweet, people were sending this to me, and I like Jared, but it pissed me off so much. He said, nostalgia's a powerful drug. And I was like, man. And look, I get it. I'm not trying to sit here and say one tweet is what defines people. But you have plenty of time to walk that back and be like, okay, maybe there's some merit here. And now it's been about a year. And we've watched them desperately try to make this fucking format work, and it hasn't. And we don't hear anything from anybody. You have the OWCS broadcast, like making the pot jokes about it. This is the future. We're doing this shit. And that's the closest thing to an official Blizzard response that we can get about the format that made this game of the year, that was beloved by the gaming industry. And it baffles me. It baffles me. And it's like, look, I understand why they want to be really sensitive to it, and I'm sure the discussion has happened internally, to be fair. But the only public response can't be nostalgia is one hell of a drug that we see. That can't be the only public response when you guys have failed to deliver on fucking everything in this game. It took 9 seasons to get a functional ranked mode that was like actually decent. The heroes that have come out, the tank heroes especially, have all been super lackluster. Ramattra would be lit in 6v6, by the way. He'd be fucking awesome. Mauga also way more in tune in 6v6. Like from your all's words, this format has not achieved anything. And if you look at the clip from Josh No, literally 3 years ago, talking about how they never want to change health pools. They had to change every health pool in the game to make this shit attempt to work. And we can't have a simple discourse about the format potentially being the problem when you guys acknowledged this shit when you announced it? How much more of 5v5 do we have to see to get a fucking discussion? That's my problem. The 6v6 workshop code was fucking awesome. It was great. The games were more intense. There were more options. The heroes had more unique identities and ways to express themselves. It was beautiful, dude. It was beautiful, dude. And I get they're probably saving 6v6 for a big boom. If I were them, like just full disclosure, if I were them, I would see where 5v5 goes. I already know where it's going to go personally because I'm not an idiot. But, you know, wait for some kind of big rebrand. Drop the Overwatch 2 branding and just be Overwatch again. Put it all behind you. And let's take a holistic view at this game. Because here's what you have to ask yourself at this point. If the end outcome, and if what they say is true, which I don't think it is. I do not think it's true that queue times are unsalvageable in 6v6 role queue. I don't. I'm not sold on this yet. They didn't introduce engaging tank heroes. The meta sucked. I don't think that they gave that format a fair shot. So just to be clear, I don't think that's true. But let's say that it is, okay? Let's say that it is true. Let's say that you try it and for whatever reason, it just would never work, whatever it may be. The question you then have to ask yourself is, did role queue work? You have to ask it. You do. You have to ask yourselves, did role queue work? And I was a huge role queue advocate. But if the end result of role queue is 5v5 role lock and a game with heroes losing their identities, less special moments, less of everything, I don't know if it was. I don't. But here's what I can tell you. I can tell you undoubtedly the gameplay offering of this game is worse. It just is. It's not better. It's just not. From a design perspective, I think hero design did more damage to this game really than anything, and it's caused this format change more than anything. I think role queue worked. I do. I like role queue personally. I think 2-2-2 is perfect, but 1-2-2 is not. But we'll see, man. Overwatch is gone. It died with Jeff Kaplan's departure. Blizzard is dog shit. Dev now, and it's the truth. I think Kaplan's vision for the game was a little bit wrong too, though. So I don't know. I think that this game was an accident, and it's going to be really hard to figure out. But I don't know. But the bottom line is, like, you know, I don't want to go too deep into the discussion right now. What needs to be argued is the discussion has to happen. That's where we're at right now. It's like, look, we need to sit down and have a real discussion about this.
Why are we all pretending the elephant with a tutu is not standing in the middle of the room with us? Because I see him. We're all looking at him. And they asked you to not bring it up? On the Aaron interview specifically, yes. Beyond that, no. Nobody can ever tell me what to do. You know how many times I know I've thrown down the gauntlet on things and I know it's not a good idea? Countless. Someone said tanks die too fast. Yeah, they do.
No, they don't.
But they don't at the same time.
Exactly.
That's
the
thing. They
problem.
do or they don't. And the fact that it so wildly shifts is the problem. Because you have that game where that tank player literally doesn't die the entire game and literally rolls the entire lobby. But then you also have games like that where they just made a swap to cast, and I immediately got hindered, slept, hogged, and instantly exploded.
No matter. Good only.
And also, the way so many people parrot stuff the devs say sometimes, even if it's legitimately inherently wrong. I showed you guys an article that was from Overwatch 2's launch. You want to see it? I still got it. I'll show you a literal dev blog that released before Overwatch 2 came out, in which they said they are very confident that the game will not be centered around counter-swapping because they don't believe Overwatch is the type of game where you should be able to just pick a hero and beat another character. You want to see it? I'll show you right now. For example, in the original Overwatch, Tracer at higher levels, the strongest way to shut down an enemy greatly Tracer diving your support line was to swap over to Cassidy. The Cassidy player was effective enough, the Tracer couldn't even feel a need to switch themselves. The Tracer could even feel a need to switch themselves over with that counter. While Overwatch 2 heroes will have their own clear strengths and weaknesses, and some heroes will be more effective than others, we believe our gameplay is better and is more fun with fewer hard counters and a broader range of effective hero picks. A further benefit is having your personal favorite be viable more often. That philosophy is guiding us forward. That changed in Season 5, in which they said that they actually like counter swapping and they believe it's part of the game. So, sometimes what ends up happening is a certain design philosophy legitimately doesn't work because of something they're doing, and then they will say, oh, we're actually changing our idea. No, you're not.
How many takes of the 5v5 argument have to be proven completely and utterly wrong before we look it in the mirror for what it actually is? A failed idea. We already tried it. It's been 11 seasons. It is not better. It did not set out to achieve any of the mission statements. And I've seen a lot of 5v5 arguments talking about 6v6 moving goalposts. What about that one? What about that one? Talk about moving the goalposts, man. Come on now. And this is why this is such an absurd conversation. It's like it's right in front of all of us. And we just won't admit we were wrong. Like, we just won't admit that everything about Overwatch 2 was wrong. The PvE, the format, everything. And the reality is, if you really look back, nobody asked for it. The game didn't need it. There were only a couple specific characters and design philosophies that needed to be addressed, and the game would have been fine. They should have doubled down on the workshop, fixed up a lot of the broken heroes like Brigitte and Bap and Moira, never added a character like Sig to the game, remove one of his abilities. Because the gameplay loop was never something that people complained about in Overwatch 1. What they complained about were specific characters. Now you have people complaining about entire fucking roles. The bumps became hills. The hills become mountains if we keep doubling down this path of increasing health pools. It doesn't solve it. This is only going to get worse, guys. Name, and I mean this genuinely, and help me think about this here. I want you guys to name something that they implemented into the game that helped solve these problems. Like, think about this holistically. When they identified a problem in Overwatch 2, name something big that they did that actually solved it. The role passives have not worked. Jesse, 24 months. Thank you, bro. I appreciate it. What worked? Narrow and wide groups for stacking, but that's not format. That doesn't address the gameplay loop. That just helps you group up. That lets you pre-establish your group to get into the gameplay loop. Health pool season 9? That didn't help anything. Identify that one-shots are a problem, nerf Hanzo over Widow. You could say, I think it's fair to say they tuned back one-shots except for Widowmaker. I think you could say that. But now Hanzo just is insanely boring. And he was viable, and it wasn't that oppressive in Overwatch 1. DPS passive making DPS have more impact. Well, yeah, sure, you let DPS have more impact after you made the role obsolete because you had to buff healing so much to make the other two roles viable. This is my point. 5v5 is a fundamentally unbalanceable format because there's not an even amount of each role on the field. You can't balance the power between roles. It's impossible. It's impossible to do because there's not an even amount. You can't do it. Junkrat's gone now too. So for everything that you named that got added, I can name more that got lost. You could say queue times, but my queue times the past 2 seasons have been just as bad as they were in Overwatch 1. So you have a worse gameplay loop, less skill expression, but the same fucking queue times. And the reality is, if you want your queue times to be good, you have to offer a good product. And if your product offering gets worse and worse and worse, you're never going to solve the problem. That's my fear. And that's what you've seen happen. Like, how does making your game ass help your queue times in the long run? Open queue had better queue times, easier to create matches. And that, again, as time has gone on, and you got to look at it reality, listen, I am still on the role queue side. I'm still on the role queue side. But as I've seen what's ended up happening with this game, I have gone closer and closer and closer towards the center of that argument for open queue. I'm not there yet. I do think 6v6 role lock can work. If that doesn't, then I would say that we should go back to open queue.
got this.
It worked differently than you intended. So now, instead of saying, oh shit, it's not working the way we intended, it's actually, no, we like the way it is now. That's just not true.
Yep. Facts. Facts.
Because remember, Jared did that, I think he did that that interview with SVB, in which they said, we like the idea of swapping and countering. And swapping is, like, part of Overwatch's identity.
Yeah.
At this rate, they might as well take the 2 out of the game. These make a difference. 5, you purchase a premium currency in Battle Pass. I mean, I don't disagree, but like, okay, but like, what would that do? Like, let's say tomorrow, Overwatch is like, okay, there's no difference between Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 at this point. Do we rebrand it to Overwatch 1? What's the point? They're just gonna get dunked on it for again. Like, what difference does it make if the 2 is there nowadays versus it's not being there? Real talk. What's the difference? If anything, it's just a PR nightmare. All it would do is just verify the claims of anyone who gets really mad and says like Overwatch 1 and Overwatch 2 are the same. And if they went back and said, hell, it's just called Overwatch again, they'll go, see, told you, no difference.
Yeah, but they were right. That's the difference. That's the key to start building consumer trust back. You have to be real about your shortcomings. You have to. And it's fucking hard, man. We've all had to do it in life. It's fucking hard. But that's why you got to surround yourself with people that love you and build something great alongside them. Because those people aren't trolls. They're not stupid. Like, the only people, and I'm not flaming flats here at all, the only people who are stuck to that mentality are the diehard Overwatch fans and the people who, like, are in the inner circle. Like, go ask anyone outside of that inner circle. They all laugh at us because we sit here and try to defend this bullshit. You have to be real if you want to get them back. You won't get them fucking lying to ourselves. You won't. This rant needs to go on YouTube so Sam can react to it. Oh my fucking God, dude. And like, I say this, like, listen, I get it. People think I just complain about the game for the sake of it. I don't care if I look like a madman. Like, eventually at some point, all this knowledge and all these lessons that I've learned from all this shit, they will help me at some point. And it's the hard path. And listen, I hate to quote Naruto here, but it really is my favorite series of all time. And it inspired me to like watching Naruto is what made me like want to become an Overwatch streamer, like start over and like grind things out. It's like if you're meant to be Hokage, and this is going to be really cringe, I apologize. Like, you don't look for the easy path. You look to learn how to navigate the hard one. It is time to address the elephant in the room. The longer that you wait, the worse it's going to be. So the last question I will ask you is, are you sure? Take a holistic view of the last 4 years. Did the changes you wanted to implement do the things that you set out for them to do? And if not, what is better?